Hello, can you hear me? Can you hear me, bache? Can you hear me? Whether my voice is audible or not? Hello, hello. Can you hear me? Whether my voice is audible or not, bache?
यस सर ऑडिबल है.
Okay, beta. I am sharing the slide. Okay, let's start the urea cycle. Before that, I want to tell you some of the students.
चैप्टर करवा है.
Hello,
मैं कहूँगा आज सतीश. हेलो.
beta. You please mute your mic. Otherwise, I will remove you from the meeting.
ओके सर.
Please don't disturb the class. If you disturb, I will not take any topic again.
ओके सर. आई म्यूट माय माइक सर.
Please. So we have very less time. So quickly we will see the urea cycle. So already I have told many things about urea cycle. So I am not going to say again all the things about the urea cycle. Just I am going to say the steps in detail again, because that steps are very important regarding this urea cycle. So basically the urea cycle have 5 steps. In the first step, there is formation of carboxyl phosphate. In second step, citrulline is formed. Synthesis of arginosuccinate is the third step. And the fourth step will be the cleavage of arginosuccinate. Cleavage means that arginosuccinate will separate into two products. In the fifth step, we are getting the urea. So these are the things happening in the urea cycle. Let us see the first step now. So during first step, what is happening? There is a carboxyl phosphate development. That is the formation of carboxyl phosphate. So basically, you know that this urea cycle takes place in the mitochondria, and some of the steps takes place in the cytoplasm. So in the first step, what is happening? Carboxyl phosphate is formed. This carboxyl phosphate synthase 1, CPS1, the enzyme. This enzyme, what it does? It is catalyzing the condensation of ammonium ions. NH4 ions are joined together with the help of carbon dioxide to form a substance called carboxyl phosphate. So what is happening in the first step? This enzyme, carboxyl phosphate, will help in the condensation of ammonium ions with the carbon dioxide. As a result of that, carboxyl phosphate is produced. Okay. So in the step, what is happening? 2 ATP molecules are used. 2 ATP molecules are invested for this reaction to take place. So this is very important in the first step. Now let's see the next thing, very important. The second thing in this is the step 2, formation of citrulline. So in the formation of citrulline, what is happening here? It is taking place in the mitochondria. The citrulline formation occurs in the mitochondria. That's why this reaction is mitochondrial. So here citrulline is synthesized from. So in the first step, we got a product that is called carboxyl phosphate. From the carboxyl phosphate, we are going to get a substance called citrulline. And here the carboxyl phosphate combines with ornithine. What is happening? How citrulline is formed? Citrulline is formed by the joining of carboxyl phosphate with ornithine. As a result of that, we are getting a substance called citrulline. This reaction is catalyzed by the enzyme ornithine transcarbamylase. It is catalyzed by the enzyme ornithine transcarbamylase. So this ornithine, which is regenerated, and it is again going to be used in the urea cycle. So basically, urea cycle, another name is ornithine cycle. Why the name already I told you? The ornithine cycle name comes because the first product which is involved in the reaction is ornithine. That's why we can say urea cycle is also known as ornithine cycle. Now, what is happening in the second step? Again, this ornithine and citrulline are the basic amino acids. Ornithine and citrulline are the basic amino acids. So, this ornithine and citrulline are the basic amino acids. Basically, this substance is not present in the protein structure. Why? Because it is not having the codon. Because it is not having codon. That's why ornithine and citrulline, these basic amino acids, are not present in the protein structure. In the next class, we will discuss the protein structure. So now you see that this citrulline, which is produced in the mitochondria, where it is produced, the citrulline is produced in the mitochondria. This citrulline is produced in the mitochondria. It is transported to the cytosol. It is transported to the cytosol. How? By means of a transporter, that is called transporter system. By the means of a transporter system, the citrulline, which is produced in the mitochondria, comes to the cytoplasm. Now, what is happening? This citrulline is never present in the tissue proteins nor in the blood, but it is mainly present in the milk. One of the important thing about citrulline, it is not present in any cell, but it is present in the milk. That is the important thing about citrulline. Now, let's see the step 2. In the step 2, there is arginosuccinate. There is a formation of arginosuccinate occurs. There is a formation of arginosuccinate. Arginosuccinate is formed in the step 3. Now, what is happening here? How it is happening here? The citrulline molecule, which is produced in the citrulline molecule, which is produced in the second step, undergoes condensation. It is joining. Condensation means it undergoes a joining process with aspartic acid. Otherwise, it is called aspartate. Citrulline joins with aspartate to form a substance called arginosuccinate. It forms a substance called arginosuccinate. It is forming a substance called arginosuccinate. Clear? So this you have to keep in the mind. Now, for this reaction to take place, we need an enzyme. We need an enzyme. That enzyme name is arginosynthase. The enzyme name is arginosynthase. So this arginosynthase is responsible for the production of arginosuccinate from the condensation of citrulline and aspartic acid. Okay. Now, another important thing is during this reaction, what is happening? In this reaction, the ATP molecule is utilized. The ATP molecule is utilized. As a result of that, this ATP molecule is converted into adenosine monophosphate. As a result of that, the ATP molecule is converted into adenosine monophosphate, because two inorganic phosphate molecules are utilized for this conversion. So for this conversion, we also need two high energy bonds. Two high energy bonds are needed for this reaction to take place. So in the third step, the enzyme arginosuccinate synthase helps in the production of arginosuccinate from the condensation of citrulline and aspartate. So once this breakdown of inorganic phosphate occurs, so now what will happen? Now the step 4. In the step 4, what is going to happen? In the step 4, the cleavage of arginine succinate occurs. In the step 4, there is a cleavage of arginosuccinate. The enzyme arginosuccinase, so the enzyme which is responsible in the fourth stage is called arginosuccinase. Otherwise, it is called arginosuccinate lyase. Lyase means the enzyme which splits. The main action of the lyase enzyme is it separates. So now what is happening? The arginosuccinate lyase cleaves arginosuccinate. So cleaves matlab kya? It cleaves means it is separating. Cleaves means it is separating. Arginosuccinate lyase helps in the cleavage of arginosuccinate. As a result of the separation, we are getting two substances. One is arginine, another one is fumarate. So these two substances are produced. These two substances are produced. This fumarate is what will happen. This fumarate will enter into citric acid cycle. This fumarate will enter into citric acid cycle. Okay. Now the fumarate, which is providing the connecting link of the citric acid cycle and gluconeogenesis. This we have already discussed citric acid cycle and gluconeogenesis in the previous chapters. Okay. Now let us see the step. Still something happening in the step 4. So in the step 4, the fumarate which we got from the cleavage of the arginosuccinate, now what it is going to do? Now this fumarate is going to be converted into oxaloacetate. The fumarate is converted into oxaloacetate. So you can see that the fumarate is converted into oxaloacetate. So during this reaction, a substance malate is produced in between. First, the fumarate is converted into malate with the help of the enzyme fumarate, fumarase. Now, what is happening? This malate undergoes some conversion that with the help of the enzyme malate dehydrogenase, and it is converted into a substance called oxaloacetate. Now, what will happen? Now, this oxaloacetate is transaminated by the process called transamination. This oxaloacetate will be converted into aspartate. This oxaloacetate will be converted into aspartate. This aspartate is regenerated in this reaction. So aspartate, which we have seen in the second step, for the that is for the production of arginosuccinate, which is joining with the citrulline, and as a result of that we are getting this one arginosuccinate. So now this aspartate is regenerated. So you must remember that in the previous step this aspartate is used. So that aspartate is regenerated in the step 4 by this reaction. So this is about step 4. Now let us see the last step in the urea cycle. Now we got aspartate here. So now here what is happening means in the final step, urea is going to be synthesized. In the final step, urea is going to be synthesized. How it is going to occur? There is an enzyme called arginase. This is the 5th enzyme and it is the final enzyme. Now what is going to be done? What is the function of this enzyme arginase? The arginase helps in the cleavage of arginine. The arginine which is produced in the previous step, that is aspartate, is going to be separated. So I already told cleavage means it is produced into two substance cleavage. Okay, as a result of the cleavage of arginine, the arginine which is going to be cleaved, that is cleavage occurs with the help of the enzyme arginase. We are getting a two substance. The first substance is called urea. Urea is the first substance, and second substance is ornithine. The second substance is ornithine. This ornithine, which is regenerated. This is not ornithine. The spelling is O. This is ornithine. This ornithine, which is produced from the cleavage of arginine, will again enter into mitochondria. So what will happen? It is again reused in the urea cycle. So from this the ornithine, which which will be used against for the urea cycle to take place. So now here what is happening basically, this arginase is activated by carbon dioxide and manganese. So these are the two substances which is needed for the activation of the enzyme arginase. So without this carbon dioxide and manganese, so the reaction will not occur. So ornithine and lysine, what will happen? It will compete with the arginine. That is called competitive enzyme inhibition. So that basically we have studied in the previous unit, but just keep in mind. So now what will happen? This ornithine and lysine is one kind of amino acid. So both will be compete with arginine. So the arginine is here, and that reaction is called competitive enzyme inhibition. Now finally, what we are going to see about this arginase. Where is this arginase is present? This arginase is mostly found in the liver. This arginase is mostly काम पे present है, liver में present है. So बाकी all the enzymes are present in the other tissues. So we have 5 enzymes. So in the 5 enzymes, only one enzyme which is present in the liver. So that enzyme is called arginase. All other enzymes which is present in the tissues, all the 4 enzymes are present in the tissues. So now this arginine synthesis may occur in varying degrees in many tissues, but only liver plays the ultimate role in the production of urea. So this urea which is produced in the liver, what will happen? It will transport to the kidney in the form of urine, and thereby it is excreted. So this is about urea cycle. So next very important thing about urea cycle, it can be asked as a separate question. So it is a separate question. What is the energetics of urea cycle? So how much energy is utilized? How much energy we are getting through urea cycle? Basically, in the first reaction, the joining of carbon dioxide and ammonium, this is amino group. The amino group joins with carbon dioxide. During that time, 2 ATP molecules are used. As a result of that, in the first step of the urea cycle, we are getting a carbamyl phosphate. That is the first step of the urea cycle. So during the time, 2 ATP molecules are utilized. So for this reaction to take place, another substance which is helping, that is called acetyl glutamate, N-acetyl glutamate. Now in the second step, what is happening? This ornithine combines, this is the stage 1. This is stage 1 and this is stage 2 of the urea cycle. So in the stage 2, what is happening? This ornithine joins with the carbamyl phosphate. As a result of, we are getting a substance called citrulline. And during this process, one inorganic phosphate is liberated. One inorganic phosphate is liberated. So in the third step, what is happening? The fumarate is converted into malate, and malate will be further converted into oxaloacetate, and it is producing the aspartate. So during this, nothing is happening. In the third stage, there is no any energy utilization or energy. We are not gaining any kind of energy in the third stage. Now, finally, what is happening in the last stage? So in the last stage, what is happening? So this is the overall view of the urea cycle. So the overall reaction, how we can summarize? First, the ammonia joins with carbon dioxide and with the help of aspartate. So this is happening in the final stage. I want to tell you, this is the fourth stage. In the fourth stage, this ammonia carbon dioxide condensation with the aspartate, which produce urea and fumarate. So this urea, what is happening? 2 ATP molecule basically used in the first stage. Basically, in the first step, 2 ATP molecules are used. So another ATP is converted when this adenosine monophosphate and 2 inorganic phosphate. So in the third step also, there is one utilization. There is a utilization of phosphate. So this is equal to that of 2 ATP molecules. So in the third step, what is happening? two ATP molecule also utilized. So this is the energetics which is happening. Now let us go for the summary of this energetics. So here finally what is happening in the energetics, this urea cycle consumes a high phosphate bonds in the energetics. Which one is mostly used here? For in the urea cycle, there is large amount of phosphate molecule. There is large amount of phosphate molecule is used in the urea cycle. So now what is, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Audible, sir.
Just a minute, some technical problem, beta. Just a minute, I correct it. So this one, I think this one or this one, na, we were seeing. So this completed. So I think this one. So what is happening in the urea cycle? In the urea cycle, basically more amount of phosphate molecules are utilized. More amount of phosphate molecules are utilized. So in the fourth step, when the fumarate is formed, when there is a development of fumarate, so during that time also, we are having the utilization of the phosphorus molecule, that is phosphate, inorganic phosphate. So very simple, this malate, when it undergoes oxidized to oxaloacetate, so during that time, what is happening? NADH molecule is produced. During that time, NADH molecule is produced. 1 minute. During that time, one NADH molecule is produced. That one NADH molecule which is produced, when the malate is converted into oxaloacetate, that is equal to 2.5 ATP molecule. That is equal to 2.5 ATP molecule. So throughout this, the net energy expenditure means uses. So in urea cycle, how much amount of phosphate molecule is used? That is 1.5. Only 1.5 high energy phosphate molecule are utilized. The urea cycle and citric acid cycle basically are interlinked to each other. The urea cycle and citric acid cycle are basically interlinked to each other. That's why this cycle is called, when we are going to study citric acid cycle and urea cycle, because of its interrelated structure, that it is known as urea bicycle. The last important thing in this which you want to know is that is significance of urea cycle. So in exam there will be 3 more question, that is significance of urea. Sagar, if you have any doubt, you can clarify in the doubt during the last 5 minutes. Okay, so whatever doubt you have, please yes, tell me.
यहाँ पे slide नहीं दिख रही है सर।
किसी को नहीं देख रहे?
सर नहीं, slide नहीं दिख।
Okay, again I am sharing. अभी?
No sir.
अभी नहीं, 1 मिनट का। अभी?
Yes sir.
Yes sir.
Yes sir.
Sorry, actually on button I have misplaced. So what I told you last 5 minutes. So now this I already told you, the urea cycle use more phosphate bonds. During the conversion of fumarate, energy is used, and in the malate conversion again 1 ADPH is used. The 1 NADH is equal to 2.5 ATP molecule. So again here the urea cycle, in the urea cycle it is interlinked with the TCA cycle. That's why we are saying it is a urea bicycle. That's why we are calling this as urea bicycle. So last one in the exam, another question comes, that is significance of urea cycle. In the significance of urea cycle, these 5 points you want to write. So what is the significance? Significance means uses or importance. So first, what is happening in the significance? In the significance, the toxic ammonia is converted into non-toxic urea. The ammonia which is produced because of the metabolism of amino acid and protein, that is harmful to our body, that is converted into non-toxic urea, and it is excreted in the urine. Another thing is the synthesis of semi-essential amino acid like arginine. So through urea cycle, this essential, semi-essential amino acid like arginine. Amino acid, different types: essential, non-essential, semi-essential. So this semi-essential amino acids like arginine is produced during urea cycle. Another important thing is this ornithine is a precursor of proline and polyamines. This ornithine, which is produced in the urea cycle, that is very important. Proline. Proline is also one type of amino acid that is very important. So when we study amino acid, we will study all the important functions of each and every amino acid. Now you just understand that this ornithine is very essential for the production of proline and polyamines. Polyamines means क्या होता है? Many amines joins together to form multiamine. That is called polyamine. The fourth significance, the polyamines includes that is protosine, spermidine and spermine. These are the polyamines which are produced by the urea cycle. So how not directly produced, it is produced indirectly. How indirectly? Through the production of ornithine. This protosine, spermidine, spermine are produced. Finally, these polyamines have a diverse role in the cell growth. So our human tissue growth and proliferation. For that, we need this polyamines like protosine, spermidine, spermine. Okay, so this is about the significance of urea cycle. Now, if you have any doubt, you can ask. Urea cycle is very difficult, but along with this PowerPoint, I will post one more video in our Google Classroom. So please watch that video also. So with that, you can understand the urea cycle very easily because वो video Hindi में है. Actually, for my purpose, I am teaching you in English. For making you more easy to understand, I am going to post one more video in the Google Classroom. Please see that. And for exam point of view, please follow this PowerPoint. If you have any doubt, you can ask now. I hope tomorrow we will have the vitamins and mineral test. So shall we have vitamins and minerals? Please study vitamins and mineral. Tomorrow we will have test in the Google Classroom. Which time we can have the test? You can fix the time. बच्चे बता दो बेटा, which time we can keep the test tomorrow?
Sir, I have a doubt.
हाँ बोलो.
How many ATP are used in this cycle?
In this cycle, totally, I think in the first step, two ATP molecules are used. In the third step, one ATP molecule are used. So totally 3 ATP molecules are used in this urea cycle. Apart from that, we are getting one NADPH molecule we are getting in the urea cycle.
Sir, how many ATP are used in cytoplasm?
What beta? Cytoplasm?
Mitochondria में sir 2 ATP used होते हैं.
हाँ.
cytoplasm
Cytoplasm में एक. हाँ एक बेटा. So first step take place in the mitochondria. Second step takes place in the cytoplasm. Okay बेटा, कल टेस्ट है 9 बजे बेटा. रेडी है ना? विटामिन्स एंड मिनरल चैप्टर स्टडी करो.
9 बजे नहीं सर.
9 बजे नहीं, फिर कितने बजे?
11 बजे सर.
11 बजे. चलो बेटा टेस्ट कैसे ना गूगल क्लासरूम में मैं क्वेश्चन दे दूंगा. गूगल क्लासरूम में आप क्वेश्चन को आंसर अलग अलग लिखना. यू कैन राइट द आंसर इन द गूगल क्लासरूम. ईच क्वेश्चन विल कैरी 2 मार्क. ठीक है, टोटल 10 क्वेश्चन. So 20 mark exam tomorrow.
Okay sir.
Okay beta, take care, study well. I will post the video in the Google Classroom. You can see later.
Okay sir.
Okay beta, bye.
Okay sir.
Okay,
Bye
sir.
bye.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Bye, sir.
Thank you sir.